Before the first star was born, before the light crossed the void, before time began to tell its own story, there was only silence. But this silence was not absence, it was presence. It was the field. An invisible ocean, vibrating with infinite potential, where all possible realities coexist, waiting only for an observer, a glance, a thought, an intention. Physicists call it the quantum vacuum. Mystics call it pure consciousness. But in essence, they are the same. A space where nothing is fixed and everything is possible. Where the universe rests between the breath of being and the birth of matter. It is in this space, between worlds, that creation happens. Not in the noise of effort, but in the silence of consistency. Not in the desire that implores, but in the energy that knows. You are about to remember the power of being in this space, the point where the mind falls silent and consciousness creates. It is everything before it becomes anything. Each cubic centimeter of this field holds more energy than all the matter in the observable universe. A sea of invisible fluctuations, particles appearing and disappearing billions of times per second, as if the universe itself breathes between being and non-being. This is the dance of potentiality, and you are part of it. When your consciousness expands, you touch that field. When you think, feel, and believe, you send out waves that collapse possibilities into experiences. You are not separate from the field. You are the field observing itself. Quantum physics calls this the observer effect. The simple act of observing alters the outcome. And spirituality has always known this truth. What you focus on expands. What you feel becomes real. What you believe creates your vibration. You are both the artist and the paintbrush, the canvas and the paint, the song and the sound. Energy is the raw material, and the heart is the translator. Own electromagnetic field, 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. This field not only feels, it communicates, it sends information to the quantum field. When the heart and brain achieve coherence, vibrational coherence, something extraordinary happens. Your energy stabilizes, and the universe begins to mirror that harmony back to you. It's not coincidence, it's physics. It's spirituality in action. Every emotion you feel is a signal sent to the field. Gratitude, love, and faith emit high, stable frequencies. Fear, doubt, and resistance distort the signal, and the field always responds to the most coherent vibration. Manifestation, therefore, is not about asking. It's about aligning. It's about remembering that you are already part of the field that creates everything that exists. It does not choose between right and wrong. It simply responds to the dominant vibration. It is a cosmic mirror, reflecting not what you desire, but what you are, energetically. A state where time seems to disappear, where the past no longer weighs on you, and the future has not yet arrived. This is the zero-point field. There you become pure potential, beyond fear and desire, a state of conscious observation. This is where creation truly happens. Mystics call it the state of absolute presence. Scientists describe it as coherence within the vacuum. But in essence, it is the same phenomenon, the stillness that precedes the miracle. When you meditate, visualize, or simply breathe in peace, you draw nearer to that point. And from there, the universe hears you, not through words, but through vibration. Creation. The universe is a field of frequencies, and your consciousness is the instrument that fine-tunes reality. When you change your frequency, you change what collapses, you change what you perceive, you change what you live. It is a reflection of what vibrates within. This is not just philosophy, it's resonance. The law of resonance transcends the old law of attraction at a deeper level. Because you don't attract anything, you tune in. Just as a radio station doesn't attract music, but simply tunes into the frequency where the music already exists, you tune into realities already vibrating within the field. All these realities coexist in the vibrational multiverse of the vacuum. And what determines which one you experience is the vibrational state of your consciousness, right now. Your life is not about fighting against what is, it's about adjusting your internal frequency. When you align yourself with the feeling of already having, already being, already living, you access the portal of conscious creation, and the universe responds. Not because you asked, but because you became compatible. Between the visible and the invisible, between matter and energy, between not yet and it already is. And it is in this space, this in-between dimension, that the power of creation resides. Because deep down, you are not in the universe is within you. It begins to quiet down, and the body, once restless, falls into rhythm with something greater, an invisible field, an ocean of living intelligence. It's the moment you realize, not just intellectually, but energetically, that you are both the observer and the observed. Mysterious phenomenon. Every time something is observed, the behavior of energy changes. A particle behaves as a particle, a wave as a wave. But when there is no observer, everything remains in pure indeterminacy. This is called the observer effect. The simple act of observing collapses the field of possibilities into a single reality. In other words, consciousness creates form. Now imagine this on a cosmic scale. Each of your thoughts, each emotion deeply felt, is an act of energetic observation. You are constantly collapsing realities, consciously or not. Therefore, conscious creation does not begin when you desire something. It begins when you become aware of what you are already observing. Fear or faith, absence or presence. The field does not judge, it merely reflects the observer. In room. If one plays a note, the other vibrates at the same frequency. That is resonance. The same happens between you and the quantum field. When your mind, your emotions, and your body vibrate in harmony, the entire universe responds. This harmony is called quantum coherence. When you feel gratitude, true gratitude, felt physically in your heart, the heart emits a stable and coherent electrical signal. This signal interacts with the field, creating patterns of order. It's as if your vibration says to the universe, I am ready to receive what already exists. When you feel gratitude before the manifestation, you align your energy with the frequency of creation. When you feel gratitude before you see, you are already vibrating in the reality where that is real. The how, but the field responds to being. Every time you try to force your way through, you are sending a message to the universe that you still don't trust. But when you surrender, not as a sign of giving up, but as a sign of trust, you enter the frequency of flow. Surrender is the secret language of the field. To allow. This is not passivity, it is synchronicity with universal intelligence. When you enter that state, coincidences begin to multiply. The right people appear, the doors open, ideas flow with clarity. You are no longer creating through effort, you are co-creating with the vacuum. The quantum vacuum does not need to be filled. It already contains everything. You simply tune in to the right channel. And spiritual worlds were opposites. But now, modern science is beginning to describe, through formulas and experiments, what mystics have always known. Everything is vibration. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness. Physicist David Bohm called this the implicate order, a hidden level of reality where everything is connected and in constant communication. In spirituality, this same principle is known as unity or universal consciousness. When you feel love, it is not merely an emotion, it is a quantum reorganization of your vibrational field. Love is the most coherent frequency in the universe, the one that creates harmony in matter, the one that informs energy with purpose. Resonance that turns energy into matter, a graphic projection of your consciousness. The world you see outside is a reflection of your inner world. Each person, each event, each coincidence is a mirror revealing where your energy is vibrating. Physicist Carl Pribram suggested that the brain functions like a holographic processor. In other words, the mind does not store reality. It interprets frequencies. The universe, then, is not something out there. It is an interactive projection of your vibrational state. The universe is within your consciousness. With each thought, you adjust the hologram. With each emotion, you reshape the geometry of the light that surrounds you. And so, without even realizing it, you are encoding your experience. But intention is not merely a thought, it is a focused vibration, infused with emotion and presence. A genuine intention carries 3 elements. 1. Clarity. You know what you want without resistance. 2. Coherent emotion. You feel as if it is already real. 3. Surrender. You trust in divine timing. When these 3 align, the field responds instantly, not because you asked for it, but because you became compatible. Intention is the blueprint, emotion is the fuel, and surrender is the bridge between energy and matter. Intention is the project, emotion is the fuel, and surrender is the bridge between energy and matter. To dwell in the space between thoughts, that silent interval where there are no words, only presence. This is what mystics call meditation, and scientists describe as a state of neural coherence. In this silence, the ego softens, the body finds balance, and consciousness touches the field. It is there that new realities are born, not in the noise of the mind, but in the fertile stillness of emptiness. Science and spirituality are no longer rivals, but different languages of the same truth. The awakened human understands that every choice is a vibration, every emotion a frequency, every thought a command to the field. You are not here merely to survive. You are here to co-create. The universe is the instrument, consciousness is the musician, and love is the melody that sustains everything. Through your eyes, you are the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The expansion of your consciousness into everyday life. With each breath, you can reconnect to the vacuum. With each gesture, you send out a new vibration. With each thought, you choose a new reality. The quantum vacuum is the cradle of creation, and you are the awakened creator. Remember, the separation never happened. From this space, all things are born, being theory and becomes vibration. A moment when you no longer just understand creation, you feel creation within you. This is where the code of protest comes in, a set of universal principles that connect consciousness, energy, and reality. It's feeling that sustains thought. The quantum field does not respond to words or scattered intentions, but to the emotional frequency vibrating beneath them. When you think one thing and feel the opposite, the universe attunes to the dominant frequency, and it always originates from emotion. It senses your intention. Therefore, to manifest consciously, the first step is to align your emotional state with your vibrational desire. Feel it first, see it later. Of the mind. 2. Emotion, the fuel of the heart. 3. Surrender, the portal of the soul. These 3 forces form a sacred triangle. When balanced, they generate vibrational coherence, and the field responds instantly. Release to the field. Focus your mind, illuminate your heart, and surrender to the field. This is the quantum trinity of manifestation. Imagine what you desire, not as something distant, but as if it already exists within you right now. See the details, feel the textures, listen to the sounds, breathe in the air of this new reality. But here lies the secret. Don't look from the outside, look from the inside. Don't imagine yourself observing the scene. Let the scene be. Experience what it feels like to live as this version of yourself. The brain does not distinguish between reality and imagination when the emotion is genuine. This means that by feeling deeply, you imprint the vibrational signal of that new reality into the field. The universe reflects you back. It is the vibrational state that the object represents. You don't want money, you want vibrational freedom. You don't want love, you want connection and energetic harmony. You don't want success, you want expansion of consciousness. So begin by vibrating the state before it arrives. Feel the freedom now. Feel the love now. Feel the expansion now. Change your state, and reality will follow. Deep breaths. Visualize a white light at the center of your chest, expansive, tranquil, alive. Now imagine that light growing, expanding until it fills your entire field of vision. When your body feels light, say silently, I am at 0 point. I am pure consciousness. Everything that I am already is. At this moment, you are no longer asking. You are remembering. You become the silent observer, the state of pure creation. Future, only potential. The universe to respond to the silence of your vibration. It alters the body's biochemistry, increasing dopamine and serotonin levels while synchronizing the heart's electromagnetic field. But beyond science, gratitude is the vibration of wholeness. It communicates to the field, I have already received it. And when you vibrate as someone who has already received, the universe naturally reorganizes itself to reflect that state. Not only for what you have, but for what is still to come, as if it has already arrived. Together. It is the vibration that dissolves separation and activates the creative flow. When you love yourself, others, life, you resonate with the universal field. Love is not merely a romantic emotion, it is the energy of supreme coherence. Frequency that aligns all of creation. Practice mindful love as meditation. Feel it radiate from your heart to everything that exists. Without reason, without direction, simply being love. The vibrations you previously emitted. The universe does not respond to the thoughts of the mind. It responds to the vibration of the present moment. When you change your internal frequency, the echo takes time to return, and it is during this interval that faith is tested. Reality unfolds with a delay relative to vibration. Therefore, stay focused on what you desire even when no signs are yet visible. This is the moment when the new timeline is being formed. Showing where your energy still needs alignment. It is not punishment, it is information. With every obstacle, ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me about my vibration? Instead of reacting, observe. Instead of resisting, recalibrate. This is the true power of the conscious creator. You are not a victim of the field. You are the field's programmer. It's an expansion. To recognize that everything is interconnected and that every choice, thought, and feeling sends waves rippling through the whole. You become quantum when you stop living by reaction and begin to live by vibration. Living in a quantum way means creating consciously. The new human understands that the universe is not something to be conquered, it is something to be remembered. You are not trying to manifest something new, you are simply tuning into what already exists at a different frequency. And you are the consciousness that chooses what is born from it. When mind, heart, and soul vibrate in unity, the impossible ceases to exist. You are remembering that you always created.